Kidnapped, walking the scene with you in old flicks from the 90s. So keen, the VHS Club, they're the talk of the town. Breaking it down, spreading nostalgia all around. Moving and grooving to the synth-pop sound. Their insights so fresh, painting pictures profound. From Pulp Fiction to Clueless, they know it all. The genuine love for movies stands tall. Unfolding memories on that VHS screen, talking about classics like you've never seen. Katie with her charm, Matt with that wit. Together they make the VHS Club legit.
Welcome back to the VHS Club. I am so excited to be hanging out here with Josh tonight to talk all about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
Katie, do you know what time it is?
It is it Go-Go Rangers time? Go-Go
It's
Power
Morphin time.
Rangers. Oh, it is Morphin time as well. It is Morphin time as well. I have to say, Josh, the entire time that I was watching this movie, and I have like all the childhood feels about it. Probably not quite as many as you do, but all the childhood feels about it. I kept thinking to myself, all I want to do is sing the Ninja Turtles song, but with Mighty Morphin Power. I was like, I just couldn't. I was like, well, they're 4 words each. There's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was just a nostalgia blast in my mind.
Fun fact, they were just originally going to call the show Power Rangers,
Uh-huh.
but somebody at Saban said, no, there has to be more to it because, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Well,
Yeah.
it's Morphin time. It's Go-Go Power Rangers. It's all the things that can get immediately stuck in your head. And we're sorry in advance to Paul and Val and all of the Tater Tots who are hanging out who are like, what the heck? Katie and Josh, what is happening right now? But we're diving back into the mid-90s for probably one of the most ridiculous movies out there. But hey, you know what? That's join us on this ride of childhood nostalgia. Well, I'm so thrilled that you were willing to jump on. For those of you who have been playing with us from the very beginning, we were on a little bit of a hiatus and we are back. Nat's going to stay out for a little bit longer, but hopefully she'll be back again soon. And in the meantime, we have all of our favorite people joining as guest co-hosts. So if you are watching or listening and you want to be a guest co-host, just send us an email. You can swing over to the VHS Club Pod you can email the VHS Club Pod at gmail.com or swing over to the VHSClubPod.com and leave us a voicemail. Let us know. We'd be more than happy to have you on as a guest host. And I let Josh pick today's movie, which I have no sad feelings about because I was really excited to rewatch it.
Well, when you told me that I could pick the movie, I'm like, I hope Katie doesn't feel that was a bad decision.
No,
afterwards.
not even kind of. I think my favorite part about this show is that there are all these, like, I watched an insane amount of movies throughout my childhood and my entire adolescence and really all the way through into college. And then I went through this like period where, I mean, even up until fairly recently, I wasn't watching as many movies. And so the chance to dive back in and like reconnect and rewatch a lot of these movies that were so foundational to my adolescence has been huge. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started doing my blog in the first place, because it's like, I wasn't watching as many movies, but then I started doing my blog and then I had an excuse to watch them.
Yeah,
Hi, Paul.
Exactly. Paul is hanging out with us, and we have Val hanging out with us as well tonight. Thanks so much for
Hey, Val.
being here. All right. Well, Josh, you said you wanted to kick it off and play
All
Nat
right.
tonight. So give us the
So,
synopsis. What is this one about?
6 teenagers with attitude get superpowers to become the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they do a really good job at it. But then Ivan Ooze shows up, wipes out the command center and their leader Zordon, strips them of their powers. So they have to go find new ones to stop Ivan Ooze.
This movie is just wild on so many different levels. My favorite part right from the very, very beginning is like how insanely cool and yet like inclusive and friendly and wonderful the Power Rangers are. They're
Yeah,
just like the movie opens with them in an airplane
yeah,
they're participating in a fundraiser for like the
yeah,
city where they are skydiving and they're
yep.
so cool and they immediately I forced my children and my husband who is actually a Power Rangers fan, but I forced my children to watch this with me. And they are all immediately wearing their colors. So the kids from the very beginning were like, "Oh, how many Power Rangers are there?" And I was like, "Well, how many do you think?" And they're like, "Well, there's a pink one, and a yellow one, and a white one." They're like, "Well, where's the green one?" And there was a lot. And I just love how they're just like, "Well, we're rocking the outfits," but like everyone sort of knows who they are, even though I guess they're not really supposed to know who they are, and they're just like the
No,
nicest group of people.
the funny thing is though, they don't know who the Rangers actually are. There's a whole subplot in season 2 of the show where Bulk and Skull try to find out the Rangers' identities.
Yeah.
They don't, but that's their mission for the whole second season.
And yet how it's
And
like
yet it's so
it's
obvious.
like Superman and Batman where you're like,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's really these guys are literally wearing their Power Ranger colors. Like you'd be like,
yeah,
there goes a gang of teenagers who are self-identifying by color exactly
yeah.
who they are, which is just I don't know. It was it's probably my favorite part is that they have like their everyday clothes are
Mhm.
just their ranger
Yeah.
outfits in like street clothes vibe.
And like in a later season, Tommy comes back and he's just like, you realize he doesn't have enough black in his wardrobe because he
Mm,
became the Black Ranger.
hmm.
So he had to go shopping.
Yeah.
And he literally mentions that. He's just like, yeah, I got to go shopping. Why? Well, I checked my closet this morning. There's a serious lack of black in there.
Hmm. There sure was. There sure
Any
was.
of the Rangers were just like, okay.
It just, yeah, I just think that they're absolutely fantastic. And I love too that like, and again, this is so very 90s. I think 90s, maybe it was also a little bit of the 80s, but I do love that these teenagers, in addition to, also being like superheroes, I suppose we can call them, they like, they have like the most quippiest quips and they
Yep.
are all incredible at martial arts.
Yep.
But in addition to just being like ninjas would have been cool enough, like they could have been
Yeah.
like the Mighty Morphin Ninjas, but instead they like also they have there's so many layers to this because they have their Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits, but then they
Mhm.
can like connect together Transformer style and build these like dinosaur robot. Well, first they are
Yep.
themselves a dinosaur robot, but then they can like click together as dinosaur
Yep.
robots and make like a super dinosaur robot
Yep.
and defeat everything. And yet, so go with me. So Josh explained the story of this movie. So there is a bad guy called Ivan Ooze, who is my
Yep.
favorite. I think he might be my favorite bad guy ever right now, at least. Like
Yep.
rewatching this, I was like, I just had all the feels. But
Yep.
but in typical 90s fashion, the like construction guys who are working on a construction site discover something that certainly looks ominous, like just
Yeah.
a giant ominous thing in the ground. And they're
Yep.
like, let's open it. So they
Yeah.
open it and out comes the beginning of what's going to be a bad guy. But what gets
Yeah.
me beyond all of the insanity is that the Power Rangers, like they know about it pretty early on and they go and like have a fight with the bad guys. Like so it's not just
Yep.
Ivan Ooze, there are other bad guys.
Yep.
And at no point are they like, let's just immediately put on our suits and transform and become the giant robot and just eliminate
Yeah.
this problem. They're like, let's just start with ninja level and
Well,
see what
because
happens.
in the very first episode of the series, Zordon gave them 3 rules.
True. That
A,
is true. I had
never use
forgotten
your
about that.
powers.
That's true.
Yep,
Yep.
never use your powers for selfish gain. 2, never escalate a fight unless Rita forces you.
Oh, that is true. I forgot
And
about that.
3, never reveal your identity as a Power Ranger.
So technically speaking, they are following the rules because the entire movie, I was like, well, they could have just stopped this, which I know then there wouldn't have been a movie. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But the entire time I was like, they could just, because then inevitably they lose their powers. So like they start off just by being ninjas and fighting and realize how difficult it's going to be. And then they lose their powers. And so they have to go on like a quest to get new powers.
Yes.
So very important couple of questions. And if you're playing along in our live studio audience, you can guess, even if you have no buy-in or love of this franchise, you can still throw an answer. So first important question, who is your favorite Ranger and why? You can answer 2 if you really can't pick between one of the 6. Who's your favorite?
Okay, so of the 6 in this movie, it's Tommy. Because, he came into the show pretty early on in the first season, like episode 17 or so. He was evil. He was the Green Ranger. He fought the Rangers, jumped into their Megazord and kicked them out. And also entered the command center in the same way Ivan Ooze did, except, Tommy had a power coin, so he could get in. Because, in the movie, Alpha's just like, don't worry, nobody can get into the command center without a power coin. Ivan Ooze immediately slips in. Well, almost nobody. Yeah. But see, Zordon has this penchant for not telling the Rangers things until it's almost too late. Because in this movie, they'd never heard of Ivan Ooze before.
No.
He never said to them, oh yeah, there's this guy that could be hidden here on Earth.
Yeah.
But no, he waited until Ivan Ooze's egg had been uncovered.
Yeah.
So.
But yet everyone, I guess not the humans, but like everyone else who is aware of it, they're like, oh, well, he was really bad. Like we had to solve all these problems when he was here last time. Like, don't mess with that.
Even Lord Zed and Rita knew who he was.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who opened the egg. They're just like, hey, Ivan Ooze is here. Yes, let's team up with him. No.
Yeah. Well, awesome answer. I actually am with you. So when I posed the question on social media earlier this week, I was like, well, I've always been Team Pink because it was just something about Kimberly that I just, and I'm not even like overly girly, but I just thought she was like the coolest and the hot pink and like everything was incredible. But then, rewatching the movie, I was like, I don't know. I think Tommy's pretty cool in this one. I'm with you on it. I think he has a cooler. He's got the there's something about him that's just like, I don't know, leadership vibes I think are good. But if I'm thinking about it from the transformation, like what they turn into, I don't know. I mean, saber-toothed tiger is pretty cool. So
I know.
I think saber-toothed tiger is like the coolest of the creatures. I want to call them transformers, and that's not the right word, but the creatures.
They're Zords.
The Zords.
Which we don't actually see the original Zords in this movie.
No.
We just see the Ninja Zords.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that CG for those Zords, man, did not hold up.
No. I do love that the concept. So if we haven't lost completely everyone. So they're Power Rangers, so they're everyday average teenagers who become these like Power Rangers, as Paul was saying, in 40-pound outfits. So they were wearing these very, very heavy outfits that you can see in this movie cover. And then they go from that into Zords, which are their I don't know, robot animal, they're dinosaurs in the TV series. But we missed that step in this movie because they lose their power like almost immediately, and so then they go on like a mission, a quest, and they end up getting like completely different animals that they turn into, which is kind of a weird, like, I mean, all of it's weird, but I was just like, weird storyline that like they have like a connection with animals, and then they're like, we'll give them a completely different connection with a completely different set of animals. But I do love that moment because they're going all the way through all the different animals, and then they're like, and you get a frog.
Yeah. Adam's like, I'm a frog.
I'm a frog. And then to make it better, so it's like badass animal, you get a frog. And he's so disappointed in this like wonderful line. And then she says to him, she was like, well, frogs get kissed and turned into princes. I was like, that's not like a selling feature. That doesn't make it cooler or more powerful. Or like, she could have been like, frogs are like incredibly smart and are, you know, lightning fast with their tongues. And they're like, she could have said virtually anything else. And instead she was just like, you're very ugly. Maybe someone will kiss you and turn you into a prince.
Yeah. Speaking of Dulcia, did you read about who the original actress for the role was?
I did, but you should tell us.
I don't remember her name.
All right, here I will look it up. I have the article. I have the article open because she ends up becoming the Pink Ranger, right? Or she takes over the actress.
No. She was on Law and Order.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Later
Then
on.
I didn't read that part. I read. Oh, we should have the like Jeopardy style hold music. Na, 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 na. I did read that she was the actress whose name, of course, is slipping me because names are not my thing. But the actress Dulcia, partway through the Power Rangers' third season, Catherine Sutherland would replace Amy Jo Johnson as the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger, and introducing us to Kat Hillard and forever changing the show's canon.
Yes.
So she becomes sort of the Pink Ranger.
But Catherine Sutherland isn't even in this movie. She's not who plays Dulcia in the movie.
Oh.
She was supposed to be.
Oh, that's what it was. So she was supposed to be Dulcia, and then they hired a completely different actor who was in Law and Order.
Yeah, and then they had to replace her with the actress you see in the actual movie. So
Paul is trying to help us, Catherine Sutherland. Yeah, we should talk a little bit about the making of this movie, because this movie is equally wild. So it's so in typical 90s fashion, right? They had this TV show that was largely stolen from a Japanese TV show, and it was like a cash cow for them, right? Like they were making all kinds of toys. Josh has a couple there on site, right? Mighty Morphin.
And in the background, I also have my Megazord and Dragonzord and all 6 original Rangers in the background. So it was, you know, like Ninja Turtles, like all these different shows, it was making a ton of money. But the TV show was, like, again, largely, like, in many cases, entire scenes were like completely stolen from the Japanese. Yeah. And just, you know, dubbed over and redone. Mixed together because they felt would be cheaper than to film all the fight, which by season 2, they were already filming half of the fight scenes themselves anyway. Yeah. Except for the Zords.
Yeah. So then they ended up deciding that they were going to make a movie, because obviously a movie was like the next best step. Of course. And there was debate as to whether or not they were going to make a, you know, quote unquote made for TV movie, which would have been a lower budget, or like a full, you know, production.
Oh no, they were going to do theatrical always, but they were just going to do it on the TV show budget.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. There you go. Yeah. And so, I mean, they really did, like, it is remarkable. Like they underpaid these actors so badly. Yes. And they're like, and every single aspect of this was really like done just terribly. Like this is a terrible movie from the perspective of the people who were forced to make this film, because it was the amount of turnover on the cast was crazy. The original director was let go. They replaced him with a cameraman who had like a TV knowledge background. They really, I mean, it was just wild, the amount of just insanity. And they worked crazy hours in like heavy, insane, you know, costumes. Yeah. The guy who played Ivan Ooze spent 7 hours in the makeup chair to be transformed into Ivan Ooze. So like, and he was not like, the actor who played Ivan Ooze was in Indiana Jones. Like he was not a
Yeah.
he was like an actual, not that the other actors were not actual actors, but like he was a name. He was not like
Yeah,
a
he was a
small
name.
actor. Yeah.
Yeah. But on top of all that, though, they were still filming the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a block of 3 episodes, which was Rita's return. The entire 3 episodes, except for the very beginning and the very end, the Rangers are in their suits the whole time, so that way the actors could film the movie.
It's just like it's kind of giving go with me on this journey, but it's kind of giving Marvel to some level where it's like they were just trying to like well before their time and certainly
Yeah.
outside of their skill set and budget, they were trying to be like what Marvel would become, where they were like, well, we have TV
Yeah.
shows and we have toys and we have movies and like and they just weren't at all able to
Yeah.
pull it off, right? Like
Yeah.
it just I mean they weren't. They did not pull this off. In
No.
the end, it was like considered to be a flop as far as box office numbers. I'm
Yeah.
just pulling it up here to so the film grossed 66.4 million internationally on a budget of 15 million, but it
Yeah.
was, which still makes money, but is like
Yeah.
is not what they were expecting, given
No.
the marketing draw and the ability and what they
But
thought would show up
see,
for it.
the funny thing is, though, is that a theatrical movie has to pull in more than just the target audience.
Mhm.
It has to pull in a large enough audience to make the money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to make the money
Yeah.
that they expect it to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and this one, one can imagine. I mean, like it felt, looking back, like just about everyone within a certain age range was watching this show. So it was like, it
Yeah.
was certainly one of, but if
It
that's
was hugely popular with kids.
but I was gonna say, but if that's it, then,
But
then you're
yeah,
not,
that's
yeah,
the thing. That was it.
Yeah.
The kids and their parents,
yeah,
maybe.
maybe, yeah.
You
90s parents who probably dropped their kids
Yeah.
off at the movie theater
Yeah.
and pieced out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and I mean, so my dad, of course, watched this movie with my brother, sister, and I. Now, he grew up watching dubs of Ultraman on TV when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and Ultraman led in eventually to Super Sentai, which led to Power Rangers.
Mhm.
Well, his favorite line in the entire movie, and it's one he remembers to this day. So it's when Ivan Ooze meets the Rangers,
Ivan
right?
Ooze is so great, you guys. You need
And
to watch
Ivan
this
Ooze
just for him.
introduces himself, and Rocky's just like, well, pack your bags because we're going to send you right back to where you came from. It's like, really? Yeah. And he's just like, and Kimberly's like, you obviously don't know who you're dealing with, Mr. Raisinhead. He's like, oh, yeah. And Tommy's like, yeah, we're the Power Rangers. And Ivan is just like, ooh, where's my autograph book?
He's so,
And that's the line my dad remembers.
it's
Just,
so good.
ooh, where's my autograph book?
The thing about, so again, don't get me wrong, this is not like a good movie, quote,
No.
quote unquote. But the thing about this movie that like still just delights me is that it delivers on like every kind of like childhood nostalgic moment, at least certainly from our childhood. But it has the one-liners like that.
Yeah.
The actor that plays Ivan Ooze is just gold. Like he is just like a
Oh, yeah.
curmudgeon-y, like old uncle. Like he's just like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Like, when
he's
he's
just
blowing up the
annoyed.
command center,
Yeah.
he lists off the things he missed,
Yeah.
and then he mentions the Brady Bunch reunion. I mean, how would he even know about that if he's been in his chamber for 6,000
Which is total
years?
improv, by the way, too. He was just
Yeah.
like pulling things completely off
Yeah.
the back of his mind. But yeah, he's great because he's funny. He was totally the like comic relief for the parents that were there watching the
Yeah.
movie. He's just like, he gets stuff done. Like as a bad guy,
Yeah.
he's a really successful bad guy. Like,
More successful than Rita and Zed ever
Yeah.
were anytime they beat the Power Rangers in
Yeah.
a 2-part or 3-part episode.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he pulls it off. I do also enjoy that he's got like two different kinds of bad guy minions. He apparently
Yeah.
was supposed to have rats, which was a weird
Yes.
move, but then they decided
Well,
they didn't want to do that. So
The rats ended up in the TV show.
yeah. So
So
they
right around this time,
repurposed.
actually.
Yeah.
So
They repurposed those. But yeah, he has
yeah,
like blobs, like
yep, the Ooze Men.
ooze blobs. And
Yeah,
then he's got the like Wizard of
the
Oz style
the Tengu
flying
Warriors. Yeah.
warriors.
So
Who are
actually,
great.
the Tengu Warriors became the Tenga Warriors in season 3 of the show.
Oh.
They just repurposed those costumes. The same. They replaced the putties for Rita and Zed's foot soldiers
You
in
have to
season
admire the
3.
grit. I mean, say what you will.
Yeah,
You have to admire the grit of the team behind the show that was just like, you know what? It's fine. We're just gonna
yeah,
make it work. Tell the writers to write this in. We're gonna
yeah,
put the costumes back. It'll be totally fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
But
they
like,
are awesome.
and the crazy thing about this movie too is that it's retold in the TV series completely differently. Like the Rangers get their ninja powers
Hmm.
in a 4-part episode in season 3, very beginning of season 3.
Yeah. They'll
Just
like kids won't notice.
the Ninja Zords, everything. Except it's not Ivan Ooze in the show. It's Rita's brother Rito,
Okay.
who shows up, destroys the Thunder Zords, which destroys the Rangers' powers, and blows up the command center somehow. Doesn't kill Zordon though, like in the movie.
Well,
Oh
I'm gonna totally have to rewatch at least
yeah,
some level of episodes to
yeah,
remind myself of all of it because I definitely went into this movie thinking that it was a different set of Power Rangers, and then I got in and I was like,
oh yeah, no,
wait, because they,
yeah.
as we said, the actors who were supposed to be in this movie tried and negotiated and got
Well, so the funny thing
didn't work
is
out.
that Austin St. John, who played Jason,
Mm-hmm.
showed up in Turbo Power Rangers movie, which came out in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Because he and Amy Jo Johnson came back for that movie.
Yeah.
And because he had been in Power Rangers Zeo, the 4th season of the show at that time. And the Turbo movie was kind of a bridge between the 2 seasons, Power Rangers Zeo and Power Rangers Turbo. So now, unlike this movie, that movie was made with the TV show budget. So it doesn't look anywhere near as good visually as this movie, as this one does.
It wasn't the 15 million on this one.
No. And it bombed even harder because it released the week after Return of the Jedi
Oh
special edition came
no.
out.
Bad
And the
move.
original, like by then, all 3 Star Wars movies were back in theaters.
Yeah, they didn't stand
It didn't have a chance.
Yeah. No. No, people were like all done. We've moved on to
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
We've moved back on to Star Wars.
Yeah,
We're gonna hang out here. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, timing
'Cause,
really
like,
matters because this one came out at the same time. This one that we were talking about came out at the
Yeah.
same time as Pocahontas and which of the Batman movies?
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
it definitely has some competition in the box office.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how many weeks between this and Batman Forever it was, but it was pretty close in terms of release because they were both released in June. So yeah, crazy. But like, so the suits, the Ranger suits themselves.
Yep.
So you may have noticed that they have like the coins on their chests.
Yep.
So those were on all the merchandise at the time, like all the toys,
Mm-hmm.
coloring books, t-shirts, comic books even. And so for some reason they put them on the movie suits, even though they're not on the TV show suits, like at all.
Well, they needed to make a new set of action figures to be able to sell
True.
to everyone. So they were
True.
like, you know, we can add coins.
But
Let's
then,
put coins
so
in.
the funny thing is though, most of the action figures were actually repainted versions of the toys that had already come out for the show. Like like even the Ninja Zords were all re-released as part of the TV show line. So there was 2 different versions, 2 different packaging versions. And Ivan Ooze came out as a figure for the season 3 toy line, not for the movie.
I did. I was saying to you before we jumped on to record that I forced my 2 children to watch this with me, and the entire time they were like, "Really, this is what we're watching? What is happening here?" Which is a totally fair response. But but we got to later on in the movie where Ivan Ooze, like, you know, basically defeats, quote unquote, the Power Rangers, and they go off on
Yeah.
like their side mission to gain back some semblance of powers. And so he's just like, as they're doing that, he's just continuing to take over the world in very like typical 90s fashion, where he's like, you know what we'll do? We'll mass market this ooze that then will like contaminate all of the parents, and they'll turn them into my minions, and then all the kids will just be having fun and won't be paying attention, and we'll just we'll move that way. So he's like mass marketing the ooze, and my kids were like, oh, did you own the ooze? And I was like, no, I don't think that they actually made it. And they were like, no, they made it. So we looked it up, and they did. They did actually make it. All I could think of was gack, which was another like ooze slime like substance. But no, they had Ivan Ooze. Val is asking, which I don't have an answer to this question. I may have to look it up and get back to you, Val, unless Josh knows. But how much money did this entire franchise make during the peak time? Just curious. This would be a good thing to look up. I mean,
I'm not sure the exact amount, but it was a lot of money.
A lot, an insane.
It was one of the highest grossing franchises at the time.
Doesn't it? It's like they've done like fairly recent movies and show versions of this.
So
haven't they?
okay, so they did 30 seasons in total.
Jeez.
Starting with season
like
7,
almost Simpsons vibes.
Right? They changed the cast every season and changed like the setting, the villains, suits,
Dr.
everything
Gustav.
changed every season.
Yep.
As did the Sentai, Super Sentai in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That was an annual thing.
Yeah.
They did 2 more movies, Turbo Power Rangers movie in 1997, which, as I said, bombed horribly because it came out in the wake of Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition.
I didn't see that one, but I did see the Star Wars re-release in the theater.
And then in 2017, there was a reboot movie, which had like Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things.
Did you see that one? I haven't seen the 2017.
I did. I saw it in theaters.
Oh.
Except I saw it in theaters, and then the very next day I ended up in the hospital with severe abdominal pain.
Oh no!
Because the whole time I was dealing with really bad abdominal problems.
Oh no!
I'd been in and out of the hospital for like a year and a half by that point.
Oh jeez.
And so the day after I saw the movie with all my friends who had been Power Ranger fans in the 90s,
tied to a bad memory,
and ended up having surgery on April 2nd to get it fixed finally.
Oh jeez.
So that was kind of my last movie going experience for like the rest of summer.
Wow.
Because like I was recovering all summer as a result.
Jeez.
But yeah, I saw it in theaters. It bombed as well. Despite superheroes being huge in 2017.
Huh.
But it's for the same reason. The audience wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because there was Power Ranger fans. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, the expectation should be different because these movies, like, it's not the same as, like, I think movies that are, like, in a franchise like this are not the same as, like, a cult classic. It's not like it's a one-off movie that just, like, captured everyone's attention and has an audience. These ones, like, had an existing audience, but it was, like, time-locked. So you're expecting the kids who have grown up into adults to, like, now have time, remember, want to invest and do all of these crazy things. So yeah, I'm not overly surprised.
And it happened, but the Power Ranger fan base isn't big enough to sustain a multi-million-dollar movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just isn't.
Yeah. No, it's like, it's at this point, like, it's nostalgia.
At this point, the TV show has even been canceled.
Yeah.
And like there's plans for a reboot, but we don't know when or if that's even going to happen because they keep losing writers.
Yeah.
And showrunners.
Because again, they treat everyone really badly. Terrell is joining us and says that one of my cousins worked for Saban under Power Rangers. He mistreated everyone. My cousin later went on to create a successful hit television show titled Legends of Chamberlain Heights. That's awesome. Nice. It bombed because I had a successful boycott done against the two. Good job. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, certainly like this whole franchise is definitely, there's like instances of plagiarism. There's horrible treatment of the cast and crew. There's virtually every conceivable aspect. So
Yeah.
it's no good. It's no good from that from that end.
No,
But
not
but
good
yeah,
from
for
that
whatever
perspective. No.
reason, it captures attention and it holds attention just in how kind of ridiculous
Yeah.
this the
Now, this one I didn't see in theaters, unfortunately.
mm.
I did see it on VHS.
Yeah, I don't think I saw this one in
I
theaters either. I
owned
don't.
it on VHS for years and years, and I got it back recently. It's not my original copy, obviously,
Yeah.
but it's yeah. So and of course I've had it on DVD for years
Mm.
because like one of my best friends gave it to me. She's like, here, well, one day I was over at her place and she's like, here you go, and just handed it to me. I'm like, okay.
You're like, awesome, thanks. I
Yeah.
do love the clamshell containers. I like. There's just
Well,
something
yeah,
awesome
like
about them.
well, after Mighty Morphin, they just had clamshells for the Power Ranger VHSs.
Hmm. Interesting.
Like the movies, the few TV show ones that they had after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had the most VHS releases.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That checks
Every
out.
season after that only had like 2 or 3. Sometimes up to 5 was the maximum for the Disney era, like 2003 to 2005.
Well, I want to before I forget later, I want I want to definitely show. So this, at least in the States, it's a little bit different in Canada and other places, but this movie is just available on YouTube, like
Yeah.
officially through YouTube for free. You can watch
Yeah.
it. And so I was like, oh great. So I clicked it and played it through YouTube. But because they didn't flag it as like a kids movie, you can actually comment on the YouTube video. And so I grabbed a screenshot of a few of the comments to read to
Nice.
Josh and to you because they're hilarious, or they
Yeah.
just make me feel really happy. So the first one says, "This isn't marked as made for kids because they know that everybody who watched this movie is 35 years old now. There ain't no kids here."
No.
The second comment says, "The fact that we get this without comments being disabled for kids is such a joy to be able to share nostalgia with one another." And then the third says, "It was the first and best Power Rangers movie ever. Whoever made this free, give them a raise." And then I love the once a Ranger, always a Ranger. I just think it's so,
Yeah.
there's something
Now,
so fun about, and I mean, this show in many ways is hopefully an homage to that, where like there's something fun about getting that level of nostalgia, but getting it with a community. So like, I love that we
Yeah.
can hang out and chat about all these movies. And
Yeah.
so I love that they're just like, it's fine. This movie is so broken. We're just going to put it up here
Yeah.
for free. Watch it as you want to watch it.
so that line, once a Ranger, always a Ranger,
Yeah.
became an in-universe call for the Rangers. Like, once you're done being a Power Ranger, you're still a Power Ranger no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you've done your time as a Ranger, but you're still considered a Ranger because you're part of our team.
Yeah.
So that kind of became the call. And it was the name. So there was this Netflix special in 2023 called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers
Oh, I'll have to check that one out.
Once and Always.
Okay.
And a lot of the original cast came back. It was David Yost who played Billy's
Mhm.
first time on the show
Mhm.
since 1996.
That is crazy.
So he is gay
Yeah.
and he was harassed
He was
on
badly
set.
harassed on
Yeah.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where he just walked off the set during Zeo because his character wasn't a Ranger anymore by that point. He was behind the scenes in the command center with Zordon and Alpha,
Wow.
helping them build Zords and new technology and stuff.
Yeah.
So this was his first time back since then.
Wow.
And it was also Walter Jones who played Zach, his first time back as Zach since 1995,
Wow.
1994. So he had done voices for the show during the Disney era and stuff like that, but this was his first time in front of the camera as his original character.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Hey, Lou.
Yeah.
So Lou's joining us in the comments. So shout out to Lou.
Okay.
Lou said, says that he worked for Power Rangers while he worked for the company behind Power Rangers. He said such an experience being involved with the Power Rangers phenom. Yeah, maybe Lou can answer. So Val had asked a question earlier about how like to round numbers, how big a franchise is this, Lou? Do you have any context as to over the years, like how many bajillions of dollars this franchise has pulled in?
Yeah.
That must have been absolutely wild to be involved with the marketing of all of this.
Oh, jeez.
And
Wow.
and I know you personally, Lou, so I know you're not involved with any. We were just talking about how badly treated a lot of the people were, and I know that you would never do any of that. So, but it is awesome to hear sort of the behind the scenes stories of all of this.
Yeah,
it's always crazy.
because so in the last 13 years or so, we've had Ottawa Comic Con,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had several Power Ranger actors
Oh, I'm sure.
come. So 10 years ago, this coming May, I met Austin St. John, who played Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and Karen Ashley, who played Aisha, who was in this movie as the Yellow Ranger.
She was great. I think
She's
I think the
amazing.
saber-toothed tiger is the coolest out of all of them.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm on her team.
And then in the last 2 years of Comic-Con before the pandemic hit, I got to meet Amy Jo Johnson.
I love her. I just think she's great.
She was awesome. And Jason David Frank.
Oh, that's so cool.
He, as soon as I met him, he took a selfie with my iPod camera. So I have a picture of me, my friend who was with me, with him, and then he signed an autograph for me.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
That is so cool. I've been to a few Comic Cons, but I haven't met any like, at the few that I was at were through jobs that I had at the time, and so I never really got to like actually be just a fan and going around and meeting a bunch of people. But I should get back. I know Boston does a fun one that's a little bit smaller, but sometimes has some cool folks at it that I would find interesting. Paul saying this was such a dangerous movie. A crew member was sent to the hospital, nearly died after being electrocuted on set.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like for being like a silly kids movie, it is crazy the amount of just chaos.
Even Paul Freeman had to go to the hospital at one point for something during filming, and he was still in makeup and everything.
Jeez, can you imagine? I just like,
Yeah.
you don't think about like obviously like filming a movie and all of the work that goes on, like not just, actors but like all of the crew and it's obviously a huge production and so much can go wrong. And if you have the kinds of conditions where like people are being like dreadfully underpaid and everything's getting rushed and it's just like a mess, it just makes everything so much worse. I wanted to before I forget later, I did want to call out this article that I'm reading from is linked to in the show notes and in the description if you want to check it out. But there was at the very end of this movie, there's they obviously save the day. Surprise! They save the day. They save the day and they defeat Ivan Ooze, which I'm kind of sad about because he was pretty fantastic. But there's this like huge like party celebration scene at the end. There was like fireworks and a bunch of people. And I did love, I'm just going down to find the details. They basically like didn't have the budget or didn't want to spend the budget on it. So they basically just like tricked people into coming out for free, like as free extras, which I think is just wild. They were like, they said, oh wait, where is it? It's here. This is what happens when I don't cue things up. Here, extras. As a way to end the movie with a bang, the Rangers' final celebration at Angel Grove was meant to be one of the film's largest set sequences, with extras filling out the crowd in celebration of the victory over Ivan Ooze. Shouting along the Darling Harbor in Sydney, the open set quickly became an invitation for fans to meet the Power Rangers when the crew decided to spread the word through local newspapers and radio stations. As a way to liven up the location, the Sydney media falsely touted the shoot as a public extravaganza that would include a meet and greet with the actors and free prize giveaways. So the turnout was evident in the size of the party and the movie's closing scene. And because many of the roles had to be recently recast, many of the actors were able to just walk around with anyone actually being able to recognize them because it wasn't any of the fans were expecting to see, which I just think is crazy.
Yeah.
And Lou is saying that sounds about right. They never wanted to spend the money. Yeah.
No, it's true.
But can you imagine going out and you're like, oh my gosh, I finally get to meet the Power Rangers and I'm going to win some prizes. And you're just like there in the middle of a movie shoot without having any knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now you're an extra. Congratulations. That's what you win.
So speaking of them not wanting to spend money, so for season 7, Lost Galaxy,
Yeah.
they have soldiers because they're on a space colony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the helmets and costumes were from Starship Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
I kid you not. They just had them available to them. You know, Starship Troopers had come and gone. And yeah, they just took the costumes and put them on extras for.
As Val said, on one hand, I'm with Val, that's messed up. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, they are thrifty. Like they know how to
And you know what else is thrifty?
to reuse.
So this Power Morpher, the toy was actually used on the show. Like throughout Power Rangers' history, they would take the Japanese toys and relabel them for Power Rangers for the show.
It's clever.
As their props.
It's clever. That's hilarious.
So this is show accurate.
And for the final part of our episode, we will reenact in our show accurate. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, what did we miss? What was your favorite scene from the movie? Did you have a favorite scene?
Oh man. So one of my favorite scenes is when Ivan Ooze is in Rita and Zed's palace, right?
Yeah.
He shows up. Rita's, of course, yelling at him because he didn't destroy the Power Rangers like he said he would.
Yeah.
And he just decides to turn them into a snow globe.
Yeah.
And just take over.
Yeah.
And when he gave Goldar and Morton, who, by the way, is not on the show. Morton was created for this movie. Goldar and Morton was like, yeah, we'll join you. And as I'm watching it this time around, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right for Goldar because when Lord Zed showed up, Goldar immediately betrayed Rita.
Yeah.
And joined Lord Zed. So as I'm watching this scene, I'm like, Zed, how did you not realize Goldar was going to do this? This is literally how he joined you.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a great one.
And I'm like, So then in the mid-credits scene, Goldar's sitting on the throne and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take over the galaxy now. Rita and Zed show up. They're like, uh-oh.
That was
fades to the movie.
That was, that definitely gave Marvel vibes again on the just the mid.
And that wasn't
credits.
common back then.
No, not at all.
We didn't have that in movies at the time. So.
It was fantastic. Lou is asking, were the two goofy guys in the movie? You might have to be more specific. There were a lot of goofy people in the movie.
Bulk and Skull were in it.
I was going to assume you mean Bulk and Skull. Yeah, they were in mostly the beginning. They weren't really in much of the.
And then they helped the kids.
They helped the kids, yeah.
And try and save the parents.
Yeah.
While the Rangers were fighting.
Which definitely took me back to Hocus Pocus because I was like, it seems as though the theme of a lot of these movies is the kids are completely left to to their own devices while the parents have been hypnotized or locked in a room or somewhere.
But when I did watch Hocus Pocus though, and there was the bullies in that movie. I'm like, that's Bulk and Skull.
Yeah. There were
it's exactly
the
them.
90s themes of the bullies, the kids, and the parents getting locked up places. I did love the final moment of the kid spraying all the parents with water to keep them from jumping over the cliff. I was like, this is fantastic. Everything about this is hilarious.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is at the end there when Fred's talking to the Rangers.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Fred Kilman, the Silver Ranger. And Billy's like, oh, that does have a certain ring to it. He's just like, Fred Kilman, the Gold Ranger.
Solid. I love it. I don't even think I have a favorite scene. I just love all the one-liners in this movie. Like
Yeah.
there's just every line is just like so wonderfully campy and ridiculous and just fun. Like it's a fun ride from start
One
to
of my
finish.
favorite parts though is like, so Alpha's trying to get the viewing globe working after the Rangers are gone, right?
Yeah.
And then Ivan Ooze's commercial comes on, and the look of disgust on Zordon's face as he's laying there dying, he's like, "Ah, do I have to really put up with this crap?" It's not enough that he's
Oh.
killing me at the moment.
Oh my gosh, amazing. All right, well,
Yeah.
we have gotten to the part of the show where we are about to go into our potato rating. So if you're hanging out with us,
Okay.
I know probably that folks, well, who knows? Maybe a few of you have opinions on this. If you
Yeah.
have an opinion, or if you just want to throw some potatoes or dinosaurs, or what else could we rate in for
Oh,
this
lightning
one?
bolts.
Lightning
Because Power
bolts.
Rangers
Yep.
has the lightning
Oh yeah,
bolts.
we totally could
So,
write. We could rate in lightning bolts. Well, let us know what you think. This one deserves. Keep in mind that our rating system is based entirely on feelings and
yeah.
nostalgia. And there's
Yeah.
not necessarily as to whether or not we thought this one is a good movie. So what
Because we've
did
already established it's not.
we've already established it was not. Um, these ones are always tough for me because I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think? Gut feeling before you saw what I put up. What was your gut feeling response?
Honestly, I was kind of thinking like between 2 and 4.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So,
Solid. All right. Well, I think I was on the same page because I came in at 3. I came in
yeah.
at 3
Yeah.
Christian taters. Yeah. I was like probably 2, and then I was like no, because it was fun. It was still fun
Yeah.
rewatching it. Like it held up in that everything was so ridiculous and campy
Yeah.
that even the fact that the CGI was bad was kind of like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. It's just like it's
The
like
CGI looked like it could have been in Beast Wars.
yeah,
That like and like Beast Wars is a good show,
yeah.
but the CGI was TV level, even though it was groundbreaking for TV at the time.
Yeah. I mean, like,
You know,
I have to admit, like, some of it was like really good, and then other parts of it were really bad. Like
the Zords were bad.
the Zords were really bad, but like the ooze stuff, like what did you
Yeah.
call them? The ooze bad guys.
Oozman.
The
Yeah.
Oozemen, oh, of course, obviously. They were
Yeah.
actually not that bad. Like they were
No.
coming out of the ground and everything. We're not
Yeah.
not that bad. I love
No.
I'm loving everyone's reaction. So it's all coming back to Lou. Lou is saying that he's giving it 3. Val is rating it 5. So Val gives us 5 for our conversation. Thank you, Val. And another 3 for Lou and for Terrell, who have been through a lot on this movie.
Apparently.
So they deserve 3. They probably deserve 5 for having gone through it. But we're taking a few potatoes away because of how badly the
Yeah.
experience was for everyone.
Um,
Paul's
so-
not seen this one. That's okay, Paul. Don't worry about it.
It's okay, Paul.
Don't worry about this one.
I wouldn't have expected people to unless they were kids at the time.
Yeah.
Or had kids or grandkids at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And
I-
Lou is absolutely right. This entire movie reminds us of the Laser Cat skit on Saturday Night Live. It's very accurate to that.
Yeah.
It made me
So-
want to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. That it was
Well,
my
yeah.
every movie we watch makes me want to watch another one. So that is the one that immediately I was like, well, now we need to
Yeah.
watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, so Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles actually crossed over.
I don't know if I
So-
remember that.
So
I don't think I do.
they did in 2 different mediums. They did in 1998, they did an episode of Power Rangers in Space, which was the 6th season. And the Turtles from another Saban show, Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation,
Okay.
crossed over into Power Rangers in Space.
Okay.
But then in the comic books, Boom Studios and teamed up with blanking on the company and the guys who do Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
They did a couple of comic book crossovers
That's fine.
between the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that would have been a little beyond me. I graduated high school in 2000, so it would have been kind of on
Yeah,
the
In
cusp of
Space.
like, yeah.
Yeah, In Space was 1998, and the comics were recently. So
I'm laughing. Kathy's coming in late, has not seen Power Rangers. We didn't expect many people to really fully
no,
appreciate that one. We're doing this episode for us, and
yeah,
no taters for you, Kathy. Totally fine.
yeah,
This
totally
is a
fine, Kathy.
generous potato review because
Yeah,
really this is a purely nostalgic, very weird fever
and
dream of a
the thing
movie.
is, after this movie, Mania died.
Yeah,
Like this was the height of Power
this
Rangers'
this was it.
popularity.
Yeah,
Like it became very niche after this because most people like there were even some Power Ranger fans who had only watched Mighty Morphin and then just flopped off after that. Like for me personally, even like I dropped off during Turbo,
yeah.
partly because here in Ottawa, it didn't air on any Canadian stations,
You're like, well, I'm out.
and we didn't necessarily always have Fox Kids.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So,
Yeah.
but I did come back for the 10th anniversary episode, Forever Red, which brought back Tommy as the Red Zeo Ranger, Jason as the Red Mighty Morphin Ranger, and like all the Red Rangers up to that point. And then I came back for so um I started watching Power Rangers Ninja Storm, the first season done by Disney,
Hmm.
because I was in the hospital with some sort of infection or something, and I was in the hospital and just in bed all day. And there was a marathon on Family Channel
I love a marathon.
because it was March break.
Yeah.
So I just started watching the show and I enjoyed it. So I kept watching. And then it was announced that Jason David Frank was coming back to play Tommy in the next season, Power Rangers Dino Thunder. So
Oh yeah.
naturally I watched that whole season
I
because
remember that one.
JDF came back. And then I dropped off again because, 2005, 2006, I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
And then like 2007 to 2010, I was in college.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't have time to watch TV.
Yeah. That was my drop off.
Yeah,
We had dropped off yeah, to
yeah,
get stuff done. Oh, well, this was so much
yeah.
fun. Thank you so much for hanging
Oh,
out, Josh, and for bringing
no
all of the
problem.
facts tonight. This was I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like I have like high levels of nostalgia, but very little memory for a lot of
Yeah.
this. So this was fun to get to jump back into it, and now I'm excited to rewatch some of these episodes. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I would definitely recommend watching the first two
All
seasons
right, I'll stay there.
of
I'll
Mighty
stay in
Morphin.
the
Yeah,
first couple seasons, and then peace
because
out.
that would be the most familiar, probably the most familiar
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, definitely.
I know because I missed season three almost entirely because we didn't have cable at the time, so we didn't get Fox Kids. And again, it didn't air on any channels that I had.
Yeah.
So, because it had been canceled from YTV after a year.
Hmm.
Season one was the only season that aired on YTV at the time.
Yeah.
And then season two was killed off global
Yep.
after that season. So
And now we can watch all of it on YouTube. So,
yeah.
so
And I have the DVDs as well for all of Mighty Morphin and some of my other favorite seasons from throughout the Power Rangers history. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
And
for
I
hanging.
will I before we go, I
Yeah.
have to say that
Yeah.
my biggest memory of Power Rangers was watching from 5 to 6, The Zone on YTV.
Mm-hmm.
Power Rangers was on at 5:30, but at 5 was the 1966 Batman TV series
Oh,
in reruns.
yes. I watched that was also super memorable for me.
Yeah.
That was definitely that level of rerun
So
was what I grew up
that
on.
was my block that I made sure that I had YTV on the TV in my hospital rooms whenever I was in the hospital
I love
because
it.
I didn't get YTV at home because we didn't have cable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I watched so that's how I got introduced to Batman and the Power Rangers.
I love it. I love it.
So
What
yeah.
foundational moments of our youth.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you hanging out, and thank you so much
Hey,
to
no
all
problem.
of the Tater Tots for jumping on. Paul's saying, yeah, Batman was his series growing up. Yeah, I love those. Adam West Batman is like, yeah, just I don't know, holds a place in my holds a place in my heart. Will always hold a place in my heart. Well, we will be back again next week. I have not yet chosen a movie, but we have some fun episodes coming up and some fun guest co-host while Nat is taking a break. So if you want to join me, I am super reachable. You can send me a DM through any of the different social platforms. You can find us at thevhsclubpod.com or email us at thevhsclubpod@gmail.com. I would love to hang out. I'm sure we'll force Josh to come back on and continue doing some more
I'm
episodes.
willing to come back anytime. Like, just
twist your arm, Josh. Twist your arm.
Yeah.
We'll have you come back on. But yeah, let us know. Continue to let us know if there's any movies that you all want us to review. We'd be more than happy to do that. But yeah, excited to be back in our Thursday 9 p.m. slot. And hopefully Nat will be back as well to join us soon. But thanks everyone for hanging out. And we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.